Wake up, everyone.
Whoa.
There is no time for sleep. Now it's time to listen to a speech about sleep. You may wonder why I decided to talk about such a boring thing like sleeping. Many of us try to sleep as little as possible. Simply, there are so many things to do during the day that sleeping seems to be a waste of time. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, no matter of how boring it seems to you, sleeping, it is a very important thing in our life. When you sleep, lots of things are happening in your body, lots of things are happening in your brain. Sleeping, it's a fluid for our everyday activities. And let me tell you why. First of all, sleeping has a positive influence on the memory and concentration. Have you ever pulled up a night timer before the final exam to find out the next day that you don't remember a thing from what you were studying? I did that not once, and I did that not twice. I think I'm the perfect example that people not always learn on their own mistakes. Sleeping helps us to process the information. When we go to sleep, our brain organizes all the thoughts we had, all the experiences, all the learning during the day, and puts it in the right places in our brain. And the next day, we are able to pull them out and use them again. If you don't sleep enough, you will forget how to do programming. You will forget how to speak Chinese or other language that you learned. Sleeping is very essential for our long-term memory. Sleep also appears to strengthen our connection between nerve cells in the brain, which is very important for learning, for concentration, and memory. Second reason why we should sleep. Sleep regulates our mood, especially the sleep in the REM mode, which is rapid eye movement. It's usually 2 hours of our 8 hours of sleep that happens at the end of our sleep, if I didn't mess it up. If I don't sleep enough, I am very cranky. And Emre can tell you about that. If I don't sleep enough, I don't feel like interacting with people. So if I'm not here, that means I didn't sleep enough. I had to go home and sleep. If I didn't sleep enough, I just don't feel like making any effort. But I'm not an exception. Most of us feel the same way if you don't get enough of sleep. The third reason why you should sleep more is that sleep influences our immune and nervous system. It is really not fair. After the whole week of working hard, spending 80 hours of working on this final project, talking to clients, finalizing everything, you are ready to relax for the weekend, and suddenly you get very sick. It is not a coincidence. Lack of sleep influences our immune system. Our body gets weak, and we are more exposed to bacteria, viruses, or any other surprises from other sick people around us. Sleep is also a time of rest and a repair to neurons. Neurons is the freeway for our nervous system. It carries both voluntary commands, such as moving your hand or moving your head, and involuntary commands, such as breathing or digestive system. Believe it or not, when I am sleepy, sometimes I forget to breathe. And I didn't actually know about that connection until today, when I read that you might be affected with your breathing if you don't sleep enough. Now we know why. That's why the notes. Sleeps also reduce the stress, and it's not a brainer. Everyone knows about that. It's really a vicious cycle. So let me explain how it works. Last night you slept for 2 hours. You go to work. You feel great. But there's lots of complications at work you try to face. Around 10, you start feeling sleepy. The more sleepy you are, the concentration goes away. You start making mistakes. You stop being proactive, so you don't have a control over your environment. You become stressed because you see your coworkers see the mistakes you do. Your boss is looking at you, and you just pray for this day to be over. You go home, and you want to relax. You want to go sleep. But you can't sleep because there's so much cortisol in your body, which is cortisol. It's the chemical. It's a stress chemical hormone. It's so much cortisol in your body that you can't sleep. So you sleep, try to sleep all night, but you keep waking up, keep thinking what's going to happen the next day. You go to work next day, and you feel even worse. So sleeping is very important not to get into this vicious cycle. Speaking about cortisol, when you don't sleep enough, then the level of cortisol in your body is higher. When the level of cortisol is higher, you are more stressed. There is more blood sugar in your body, which influences the insulin, and then builds the fat around your, I need to write that word, abdomen, yes. You get belly, in other words, right? Just because you have too much cortisol. And finally, why sleep is important? It's because to keep our beauty. Have you ever heard about beauty sleep? It's not a myth. When we sleep, our body slows down, our cells change slower, we are relaxed, our skin gets better, our body temperature gets down. So when you sleep 8 hours per day, you feel more relaxed, you are more beautiful. Yeah. Fellow Toastmasters and honor guests, today, after, not the meeting, but after Ibizu, go home and have nice 8 hours of sleep. And I promise you, tomorrow you'll feel much better. Thank you.